So there it is. Decent speed, solid strike, my typical little draw. And whatever your shot is, it's really important that you understand how to release the club correctly through impact to give you your best shots. Now, what I'm going to run through in today's video though, is there's potentially a couple of different ways you can release the club. And I'm going to show you how you hold the club and a particular position in your downswing that massively is going to influence which one of these two ways you should be releasing the club. So first of all, what is releasing the club? It is not swinging, letting go of the club and throwing it down the course or the range. Comment below. You might be somebody who releases the club beautifully when they do that. But what it's about is in your downswing, it's about delivering the club with some speed, with some control of that club face, giving us a strike and letting the club get past the body to hit a good shot. So as a general rule, there's a couple of ways you could release the club. And a lot of coaches have maybe their own view on which is best. I think there's definitely arguments for both, but it's very much down to the individual which one they find easiest to control. So one way is much more of a hands and arms release of the club, which can still give some very good speed. I've still struck the ball well there. And again, we can see my paths from the inside. Club face a little bit closed, there's my draw. But the other popular way, and maybe a more modern way of releasing the golf club, is by using much more body and less hands and arms. And we can see there, again, good strike, good speed, low point ahead of the ball from the inside with a closed club face. So I know what you're thinking. I've released two different ways there with the club, but got great shots. Now, what I would say, the first thing to check is the way you hold the golf club. So when you set up to the golf ball, if your hands are in a relatively weak position, as you look down, traditionally, you might only be able to see maybe 1.5 knuckles. And if you're somebody who checks where the V points, it's going to be much more up towards your chest. Now, for anyone with a weak grip, what you'll tend to find is as you swing down, that club face will want to be a little open. So this is where maybe a little bit more hands and arms of rotation, getting that club rotating through the bottom, will be better. And if you stand there and feel that you try and get the hands kind of rolling over a little bit more, what you should be able to feel is that you can still get a solid strike. And there's tour players like Webb Simpson, maybe slightly weaker grip, are much more hands and arms with the way they release the golf club. The different way of holding it, and again, like I said before, is maybe a more modern way of holding it, is a stronger position. So that left hand more on top of the club, maybe see 3, even 4 knuckles. Now the golfers, what they're going to tend to find is their club face is going to tend to want to be more closed at impact. So when their body's straight on, the club face is going to point left and they'll hook the ball. So what they would find is the more they can turn their body out the way, the squarer that club face will be. So if I went very strong with my grip and really focus on my body rather than my hands, I can still get a good strike and we can see some still relatively good control there. So the first thing you want to check is if you're somebody with a relatively weak grip, we might feel that we're going to have to release the club more with our hands and our arms. A strong grip, maybe a little bit more of body turning towards the target. Now, I also mentioned at the start of the video, maybe checking a position in your downswing. Now, when you look down the line, as you get to club about parallel, if you're somebody that the toe is pointing up to the sky, generally speaking, you're going to have to get the club to rotate a little bit more through the bottom. And again, very often we'll see that with people with maybe a weaker grip. And that, again, is where hands and arms, which is very much, I think, how I used to release the club, certainly as a junior golfer. My hands were in a very different position, and I definitely felt I had to rely a lot on my hands to square the club face up. The second one is, if you're in that same position halfway down, that leading edge of the club would be much more similar to your spine angle. Might even be the face looking down to the ground. Now they're the golfer that then needs to feel that they're turning the body out the way, because if they let those hands go, all we would see is a horrible, snappy hook, way left, and in all kinds of trouble. So, first thing I want you to check is how you hold the club. So if you are somebody who is that weaker grip, we want you to feel that if the toes to the sky there, we want to be toe to the sky there. It's not so much your body turning out the way, the body will rotate, but you want to feel toe up as your little feel. And if you can get that, you're going to strike the ball solidly. Low point's going to be ahead of the ball. For me, we can see their path from the inside, club face fairly square to the path, and a decent shot. And practice that. The better you get, if that's the way you hold the club, you need more of that in your golf swing. If you're somebody who's much stronger with the grip, you want to feel that spine angle to spine angle. If you let the hands rotate, the face will be looking down to the ground. So we want to go spine angle, and it almost, for me, feels like the hands aren't involved at all in that shot. Now, you can definitely see for me, my hands want to be a little bit more involved, but we can see good strike from the inside, club face a little bit closed. Now, I'll be honest, as a coach, I think you can do either. If you're somebody that really, really struggles, it might be that you think your grip is particularly poor and you might change your grip. You need to make sure that the way you release the club matches the way you hold the club. Because if you're somebody with a strong grip that gets lots of hands and arms, you're going to miss left. Definitely, I think that's been my issue. I think a weaker grip as a kid, lots of hands and arms. I think I'm definitely a little stronger or neutral with my grip nowadays, and I need to feel that my body turns out the way better. And when I don't get that, that's where I get that one to the left. So definitely for me, it's about being more body orientated with the way I release the club. And I feel when my hands are nice and passive for me, it gives me that low point ahead, gets the club traveling down nicely through impact, swing slightly from the inside with a closed club face, good speed, good distance, and lots of control. And that, like I said at the start, is the key about releasing the club. How do you release the club to give you best speed, best control, to hit good distance, nice and accurate, but do those little checks. How do you grip it? Match the pattern, check that position halfway in the downswing, and match that release pattern to the grip and halfway down. And if you do, I guarantee you're going to hit some of the best shots you've ever hit on the range and on the golf course.